loop the platform sprite. Right now, your platform sprite moves down, but it doesn't loop back up to the top of the screen. You can look at Lesson 15, Level 13 to see an example of a sprite looping around a screen. But I think here they're going to tell us how to do that. Do this. Use the function block to create a loop platforms function at the bottom of your code. Okay, so let's go to the bottom, create a function, and we're naming it loop platforms. Okay, we did step 1 here. So use the if block inside the function to check whether the platform has gone off the bottom of the screen. And if it has, move it back to the top of the screen. Okay, so let's see. It's moving downward. Let's see what the y value is at the bottom. Probably 400. Yep. So if the platform.y is greater than 400, then platform.y equals, and we'll say negative 30, because we want it to go above the screen, and up here is 0, so we want it to be negative 30. If platform.y is greater than 400, then we say in here platform.y equals negative 30. I think this should do it. Okay, so call the function inside the draw loop in the update sprites area. So let's find our draw loop. Okay. So this is the update sprites area, everything below this comment. So let's call that function. This is the call of function block. Let's put it here. Loop platforms. All right, let's run the code. Hopefully it works. Excellent, it works. What will platform.y be when the sprite moves off the bottom of the screen? What should platform.y be when you put it back at the top of the screen? That's a hint. Make your second platform. Making a second platform will be easier than making the first because you can copy and paste a lot of the code, then make a few small changes. This is a lot easier in text mode. Show text. So be sure to try it out if you haven't already. You'll need to copy 2 parts of your code. The part at the beginning where you made the platform, which is right here, and the part in your loop platforms function where you loop the platform back to the top of the screen. Okay, do this. Copy the code you used to create the first platform sprite. Okay, yeah, that's this. And paste it directly beneath the original code. Okay, so I'm going to copy it. Control-C, click beneath it. The cursor shows up so I can paste. And now they want us to change the names. So platform, you could name this one platform 2. Okay, I'm going to do that. Platform 2. Platform. Platform 2. Okay, and we don't need to change this animation because we only want the same animation. Change the starting position of your new platform sprite. So the first one's 200, 200. It's in the middle of the screen. I think I want to change the X position of that to, let's say, 50. And I'll change this one to 280. It's really up to you, though. So, yeah, so that's 50. This is 280. 50 kind of looks, I don't like the looks of that, so let's try 80. Okay, cool. All right, so we changed the starting position. Inside your loop platforms function, copy the if statement, then paste it directly underneath the original code inside the function. So, what does this mean? Inside our loop. Okay. Change the sprite name in the new lines of code. Okay, so we're going to our loop platforms function, and we're just going to we're going to copy this and paste it below and change this to platform 2. So now both platforms will loop. And then we're done with this level. Challenge. You can make your platforms appear at random X positions when they loop back to the top of the screen. That is a good point. That's a good point, and it probably makes sense to do that. So let's do that. You're going to take a random number block, and you're going to put it here. And I'm going to say 80 to 120 for platform 1. And for platform 2, I'm going to say 280 to 320. And hopefully this works. Not sure if it's working yet. Okay, I'm not sure if it's working. If you want to figure that out, it doesn't look like it's working. There is another way to do it, and it's pretty simple to figure it out. If it's not here, then it's probably going to be somewhere in these if statements. Anyway, create an item. Next, you need to add the items that fall from the top of the screen. These move just like the platforms, but faster. In order to make the game more interesting, the items start at a random location above the screen. For the sample game, the item's X position is a random number between 50 and 350, and the Y position is a random number between -30 and -60. Do this. Use the Create Sprite block to make an item sprite in the Create Sprite section of your code. Okay, so let's put it below platform 2. And usually you want a set animation. Oh, that says in the 3rd step. So, okay, we did step 1. And let's name it. Okay, star. They have star here. So let's name it star. Star. Use the random number block inside your Create Sprite block to start the item at a random X and Y position. Okay. Okay, so, whoa. Didn't want to do that. So, they gave us some suggestions here. I'm going to use the same suggestions that they used. 50, 350 for X, and -30, -60 for Y. Use set animation and velocity Y to give your sprite the correct image and make it fall from the top of the screen. So we get set animation. And a velocity Y, which is going to be positive. I think they said that the velocity is greater than the platforms. So let's make it 5. And now let's run the code to test it. Okay, there's our item. Great. Loop your item. Now that your item is falling, you can add code to loop it back to the top. This is the same thing we did for the platform sprite, but the item sprite will loop back to a random X and Y location when it goes to the top of the screen. Create a loop items function that uses an if block to check whether the item sprite is off the bottom of the screen, then sends the item back to a random X and Y position, just as it did when you first created the sprite. Okay, we're creating a function. What are we naming that function? Loop items. Loop items. Okay, in this function, we're putting an if statement. This if statement will check if star dot y is greater than 400. This if statement will send it to a random X and Y position, just as it did when you first created the sprite. Okay, all right, now I get what they're saying. So, you know how at the beginning we set the star to a random number, 50 and 350, negative 30, negative 60? We wanted to do the exact same thing. So we're going to say sprite.x, sprite.y, random number, random number. Okay, so let's name it star, star. Random number, what did we have for x? 50, 350, 50, 350, and in y, negative 30, negative 60. Okay, so now we need to call the function inside the draw loop. It's called loop items. I'm going to put it right below loop platforms. All right, and now this star should start over. Yep, and it changed position, so that's a good thing. We're good. Okay. Make your second item. Next, you'll copy and paste the code for your first item to create a second item. Remember that this is a lot easier in text mode, so be sure to try it out if you haven't already. You'll need to copy two parts of your code, the part at the beginning where you made the item, and the part in your loop item function where you loop the item back to the top of the screen. Let's make sure we have a second item. Okay, we don't, so let's create one. And I see this little teddy bear. Now it's gone though. Let's see. I don't see my teddy bear. So let's use this fly. And I'm going to delete the one. Okay. So, we're going to copy and paste some code as we did here. So, I'm going to copy these, Control C, click beneath it. My cursor showed up, so I am good to paste. And I'm going to name all this fly, fly, fly. Don't forget to change the animation. Okay, so I did that. Copy the code you used to create the first item. Okay, I did that. Change the names of the sprite in the new lines. So I did that as well. Inside your loop items function, copy and paste the code and change the sprite names. Okay. All right, so we're changing this. We're doing the same thing. All right, let's see. Yes, my cursor showed up right there, so I copied it. I'm going to paste it. And now we want to change this to fly. Fly, fly. And now this should work. Yep, there's a fly and there's a star. Does the fly loop? Yes, the fly loops. Okay, we're good.